Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting and intriguing. And today we are continuing part 2 of a discussion that we had at the beginning of the month entitled A Black Political Agenda. My very special guests have returned, Dr. Bruce Strouble, Melanie Andrade, and Serenity Williams, all part of Tallahassee Alert standing for African American Local Election Review Team. And so I'm excited to have them on here because it was a pretty robust conversation the last time we were here. And so most of the folks who were on were like, we need a part 2. So here we are. And we have, I believe, one candidate form behind us. And so I'm going to bring them on in just a moment. But before I do, I need to hear from you. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And your comments and questions, respectfully, are welcome. And so please tag a friend, let them know they should be part of this conversation as we talk about a Black political agenda. So please like, please share, please tag a friend. I see Mr. Warren Cave has joined us. Good evening, family and friends. Thank you for being here, Warren. Shout out to you. Feel like you've been a little missing in action, Warren, but it's okay. We know you still in the background there. Robust is an understatement. Enigma Sep, listen, I'm trying to be polite here, okay? Yes, it was robust. So hopefully we will have another robust conversation because we got a lot to talk about. All right. I know that there'll be other folks joining me. Oh, there's Mom down in Miami. Hey, Ma, love you. So I'm gonna go ahead and share. I'm gonna start with the ladies first. So Serenity Williams is a political organizer and strategist rooted in Tallahassee with family ties in Quincy. Lifelong organizer, her earliest political memory is canvassing and phone banking for Barack Obama in 2008. She holds a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's in public administration. She empowers Black and Latin and working class communities through neighborhood organizing and leadership development. And she is passionate about building civic power that lasts beyond election cycles. She currently serves as the deputy chair of community organizing at Tallahassee Alert. Y'all help me welcome Miss Serenity Williams.
Hey,
Hey.
so glad to be back.
Yes, yes. So, what would you have the people know about Serenity in her own words? Not necessarily what you do, but who is Serenity?
I am, honestly, I say all the time, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl that cares passionately about my community, about helping others. And everything I do, I try to have community be the center of it. I am a daughter, I am a sister, and I would be nothing without my village. So I hope to push having a village for everybody else as well.
All right,
So that's just me.
very good. Thank you so much. All right, and then next we have Miss Melanie Andrade. She is a seasoned policy strategist and advocate with extensive experience in governmental affairs, social justice, and reproductive justice. Currently serving as policy director at Florida Health Justice Project. And she also works to advance policies that promote healthcare access for all Floridians. She also serves as a policy consultant to Southern Birth Justice Network, where she advocates for maternal and infant health, birth justice, and reproductive justice. And she is the deputy chair of policy advocacy at Tallahassee Alert. Y'all help me welcome Melanie Andrade.
Good evening. Thank you for having us back.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, Melanie, same question. Who is Melanie? Not what you do, but who are you in your own words?
I would say I'm a storyteller, I'm a creative, and I'm a lover. I'm a woman and I'm Black, and I love being Black and I love being woman. So it all stems from that. Everything about me stems from those two truths.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your truth, and thank you for being with us this evening. So Bruce is a bit delayed, so we will have him join us a bit later. But I guess a good place to start would be about talking a little bit about Alert, because I have not really described what Tallahassee Alert is or does. I mean, the name, yes, but not what it does. So, would either one of you mind sharing kind of, how Alert kind of got started and what its purpose is?
Yeah, I can go first and Melanie can like fill in, I guess. Okay, so I think the easiest way to describe Tallahassee Alert is we are working to build a voting block of Black people in Tallahassee. A voting block meaning that we understand that we are a significant part of the population here in Tallahassee, and if we work together, organize together, vote together, we can win power. And we do that through education, political education, through voter outreach, and just really educating the people on the issues. We've been out on the forefront of a lot of local issues lately. And we, again, understand that when we are together, when we are one, we can win. And I think that's what the people need right now is a good win.
Okay. Mel, you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I would just add to that we are building that political power through various means. So we hold candidate forums, community forums, listening sessions, meetings with candidates and elected officials. We encourage our members to be civically engaged, meaning not just to vote, but to be active in local meetings, to apply to sit on local boards and things of that nature. There are so many ways to make your voice heard, and we're constantly encouraging our members and our supporters to get engaged beyond voting.
Okay, very good. All right, so thank you for that. I do want to go ahead and share the candidates forum flyer. The first one took place on March 9th. The next one is next Monday, March 23rd, City Seat 5. And then March 30th, City Seat 3, which I will be moderating. April 13th is County Seat 3, April 27th, County Seat 5, May 11th. Is that Congress?
Yes, Florida
Yes.
District 2.
District 2, okay, and then May 18th, Florida House, District 8 and 9. So these will all take place at Watson Temple, located at 665 West Brevard Street. I know that writing is kind of small, so that's why I'm reading it. And then also, live streaming options are available on the Facebook and YouTube channel of Tallahassee Alert. So, folks can come out. I think everything starts at 6, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So it's hybrid. You can either come in person or check it out virtually. All right. So again, just trying to make folks aware of these activities that are taking place. So we have several folks that have joined us. I definitely want to acknowledge them. Rachel Favors, welcome back, Serenity. All right. Thank you for being here, Rachel. We got Tracy Gole here. Thank you for being here, Tracy. Warren, I'll get to your question in just a moment. Shell Burt, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. And Enigma, Stand with Black Women. I think they are loving your sign in the background. Melanie. All right. All right. And then we got Dr. Judy Mandrell, Dr. Sister Girl. That's what I call her. She's here with us. Thank you for being here. Tiffany Hill, T. Hill, who is a candidate running for City Commission as well. Thank you for joining us. And Miss KJ. She said, greetings, sisters. Appreciate you being here. All right. So, Warren, let me go back to your question. Let's see. My first question is something that I don't recall being asked or mentioned in the last show. Rate the Blacks in our local politicians in offices in Tallahassee with 4 years or more service. Rate them? What do you mean by rate them, Warren? Tell us what you mean by that.
Rate how? There's a lot of criteria.
There's a lot of criteria. All right. And then let's see. All right. So you mentioned candidate forums. We talked about those dates. One of the things that we mentioned before coming on air was the charter review. And you had members of Alert on the charter review committee, correct?
Yes, we did. Bruce was on that committee.
Okay. All right. And so what were some of the things that were findings, or, you know, what did Bruce kind of report out to the group as it relates to it?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Melanie. You could go.
Well, just to recap real quick, the Charter Review Committee is a little bit different than the other advisory committees that, you know, are standing committees. For example, the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. We have a Council on the Status of Men and Boys, that sort of thing. And those are standing committees that always exist, that you could always apply to be a part of. We have like a planning committee and things like that. But the Charter Review Committee is unique because it only comes around once every 8 years. And its mission is to review the county charter. So it's like our constitution, it's our governing document, and to give any recommendations to the county government on any changes that they think we should make. So the representatives who sit on that committee are appointed by county officials. We got a couple of initiatives that passed through that committee. One that we wanted to get as an actual charter amendment, but it came through instead as a policy recommendation to the county commission. And one of my coworkers is behind me. And then the second one that actually did, it didn't pass. It actually was a tie, which was technically a fail, but we're going to talk in more detail about where that's at, because we kind of revived it and we've been joking it and calling it our zombie amendment. But the one that was referred to the county as a policy recommendation instead of a charter recommendation is for an Office of Food Systems in the county. That was discussed at the most previous county commission meeting this month. And then the other one was the Restoring Communities Amendment. And I'll let Serenity share a little bit more about what that amendment is and kind of where we're at. And we're going to talk about what next steps look like for both of those initiatives.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you need to tend to your coworker?
No, he's good.
Yeah. So yes, our little baby zombie amendment that we're calling it zombie because it kind of died in committee at first, again with the tie vote. But there's multiple ways to get a amendment in our county charter. One way is through the committee. So the committee will vote on it. If it gets a majority, it goes to the county commission. They approve it, and then it goes to our ballot. Another way is directly through the county. A county commissioner can suggest an amendment to our ballot, and it would need a supermajority vote to leave there. Or the final way is to get petitions. So the Restoring Communities Amendment is an amendment that focuses on restoring our community that was harmed through past public policies.
Okay.
And so that can be anywhere in Leon County that there will be a committee essentially that will audit sort of like past public policies to see where that they have, where in the community has been harmed from these policies. And then there's mechanisms to restore that community from those past harms. It again was a tie vote in the committee. So when it came back to the county commission, the county commissioner said, well, we should reconsider this amendment because it was so close in vote. And 6 out of the 7 commissioners said that the people should get an opportunity to hear this amendment again, get an opportunity to vote on it up or down if they want to. So they're sending it back to the committee to reconsider.
Okay.
So it is still alive. The committee will, they're setting up dates right now. I don't think that they've landed on a date just yet on when that next meeting will be. But in that next meeting, they will bring back up this particular item and I guess go through another round of discussions with the committee and hopefully pass it this time.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Thank you for that update and that clarity as it relates to that process. All right. I think Warren has come back with some clarity on his questions. So, if you rated local politicians who have served 4 more years here in Tallahassee, have they upgraded the Black agenda or not? It's been 25 years and I see positive change different from others. Okay.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Black politicians who've been in office for more than 4 years, I guess locally, we got our county with Commissioner Bill Proctor, Commissioner Nick Maddox, and Commissioner Carolyn Cummings. And then on the city side, Commissioner Diane Williams Cox and Commissioner Curtis Richardson. And I first want to just say like how I view positive or upward change for a Black agenda. To me, that means that I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it. You know, there's actually something that is making life more enjoyable in Tallahassee, making it more livable, making it more affordable. And so that's what I think is, again, advancing the Black agenda. And if you want to find our Black agenda, you can find it on our website. But how would I rate them? This is getting kind of messy, but I think when I look at votes of certain people, I don't think any of these politicians are perfect. I think they make some good decisions, and I think they make some bad decisions. That's just fair. And I think a lot of the times, all of the bad decisions are mainly anything that has to do with, I would call like anti-displacement growth development. When we saw that, the Orange Avenue apartments, people getting displaced out of there had to be a whole lawsuit over that. Frenchtown, there's all these student housing popping up. Frenchtown is about to be unrecognizable pretty soon. And anyone that votes for stuff like that, I don't agree with. So I wouldn't give Commissioner Williams Cox or Curtis Richardson good ratings based off that alone. And I think Carolyn Cummings also does pretty similar things. But I think that there's always room for redemption. And if they continue to, act in that way, then I wouldn't want to support them and I wouldn't go out and tell people to support them. But if they want to have smart growth, They want to build middle housing for people. For middle housing, again, for me, meaning that it's not just student housing and it's not a 3-bedroom house or more. There's people who don't have kids that don't need 3-bedroom homes or don't want to afford or can't afford 3-bedroom homes, and they need something in the middle. A lot of our students leave because they feel like there's nothing here for them after they graduate. Unless you have a family, there's really nothing for you here. So that's, I guess, like my rating system. And again, I think everyone is worthy of redemption and can turn around. But right now, I wouldn't positively rate them at this point.
Okay. Appreciate you sharing that. Mel, did you want to add something too? So the question was, I don't know if you heard it, if you could rate local politicians who served 4 or more years here in Tallahassee, they have upgraded the Black agenda or not? Have they upgraded the agenda or not? And Warren Cave is asking the question. He said, I've been here 25 years and I see positive change different from others.
This is a fair question. We have a few different pillars, so different issues that we have kind of calculated and figured that these are the most important that we'll focus on. And I think that, to be fair, we would need some kind of rubric system, right? I think, just generally speaking, and having been here, I don't know, maybe 14 years now, I would say that I'm kind of leaning towards what Serenity said, but I love how she framed it and saying that, anyone can be redeemed, right? They can start working towards this agenda. I think that, to someone's point on part one, like, there's, this is not the Black agenda, right? This is a Black agenda. So Tallahassee Alert, like, we've created our own, but this is not the end all be all. So I think that depending on who's rating them, it could look different. But I guess, to be fair, the rubric would need to be based on of our 5 areas. So we have equitable development, we have economic empowerment, housing, education, and then community safety and well-being. So that's not just focus on policing, but also on health, public health, wellness. And I think when you look at those and you think about what's going on, I'll just use one of those platform points as an example and talk about economic empowerment. I think that so many people were upset when Blueprint, which is both of the commissions, right, the county and the city, when Blueprint voted to give $20 million over the next 10 years, or that money was from a pot of money, rather, for the next 10 years for, like, the local economy. When we look at our Office of Economic Vitality, we look at our different chambers, our minority chambers, our Black business owners struggle. I don't know what the stats are, and, like, compared to white and non-Black business owners, what are the percentages? But we still struggle to access capital. We still struggle to buy properties. So we're in situations where we're leasing and we can't afford the leases. We're in situations where we can't afford to pay staff. So we end up alone in our businesses. We see so many business owners getting evicted, going into default if they do get a loan, and things of that nature. So when you want to talk about equitable development, I'm sorry, not even development, but specifically just economic empowerment. Like, we can start to talk about development and how unfair it is to continue to give money to out of state or out of the city, out of the county businesses. But I'm not even, like, we're not even at that point. I'm talking about small micro businesses here in Tallahassee, or even just individual entrepreneurs who aren't even at that point where they can compete for these big contracts. And if you think about developers and all of that, you might have one Black person who's, like, just kind of starting out. So yeah, it's just, overall, no. From what I see, of course, if you go to them, the answer may be like, there are no Black developers, or there are no Black companies that we can fight for doing XYZ. And why isn't that? We've already started off, like, the footing we started off on was not equal. So we may never get to the point where you have a bunch of Black businesses to choose from. But the entities you already have aren't even doing the bare minimum. Those entities I just listed, the OEV, the chambers, I don't see the bare minimum happening from them. So, I think that our Black electeds, they say we're doing what we can. And our view from this side is that you're not doing enough. But yeah, we would need a rubric. Like maybe that's a good idea we need to take back to Alert is say, let's come up with a rating system, axes or whatever. And how far are they on this based on their votes? Like, let's create a science for it and then see what the rating would be.
No, I like that idea of a rubric. I think that would be very helpful, and I think it will help us compare like apples to apples and not apples to oranges, right? So, yeah, Alert, y'all think about doing that. All right. I want to acknowledge a few more folks. I think Dr. Bruce has joined us backstage, so I'm gonna bring him on in just a moment. But Brother Kufu has joined us. Thank you for being here. And he further said that everyone is controlled by money, especially Black politicians. Ooh, shots fired. We got Alert saying, please feel free to ask candidates a question in the comments. We will do our best to get all questions to the moderators. So if you have questions for any of the candidates forum, you are being invited to put them in the comments tonight such that they can be added to the list of questions that go to the moderators for the candidates forums that we mentioned earlier. Okay. All right. And then Kay, the advocate, said, some of our first-time voters are not knowledgeable regarding voting. How are we engaging the youth? Any events to engage them into this work and to care about voting? Very good question. All right. So let me bring Bruce on, and then we'll see how y'all want to tackle that question. All right. So I'm not going to read his bio. Listen, y'all already know who he is. So welcome, Dr. Bruce Strouble.
What's up, everybody? Sorry I got on late, Nicole, but I'm glad to be here. I know my two sisters was handling business, so I don't feel like anything was missed. But how's everything looking? What did I miss? Where y'all want me to jump in?
I think we started just talking about the potential of rating candidates, as well as just giving an overview of Alert, and we talked about the charter review.
Oh, okay. So y'all covered everything.
We covered a few things. A few things.
I don't know if y'all share. We do have a candidate rating process, and we pretty much through our committees and through our community. When we see candidates, after we bring them to the candidate forums and we listen to what they have to say, we ask them a battery of questions to see where they stand on certain issues. And then we've done it in the past. We've rated candidates based off who we think has the best policy aims that would benefit the communities that we serve. So that is something we are always working towards. It's a process because I have candidates who I love, and then they get in there and don't say the right stuff, and they don't get the rating. And
well, Bruce, if I could cut you off real quick, more specifically, what we discussed is actually rating Black electeds who have been in office 4 years or more. So a little bit different.
Okay. So y'all mean rating. Okay, we don't have a process for that in place, but I think that's something that we should do as a community. People should get a report card every year of their term, and we should be honest with them. Like, you told us you were going to do this, and you went up there and voted for this, and that. So I don't think people will like it, but it is accountability, and that's something that we are strong on.
For sure. All right. So we are almost at the halfway mark. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we're talking a Black political agenda. This is part 2 of a discussion that we started the early part of this month. I have Dr. Bruce Strouble, Melanie Andrade, and Serenity Williams of Tallahassee Alert standing for African American Local Election Review Team. And we have been talking about a few things. The charter review. We have talked about maybe rating candidates, and just a little bit of what kind of the Black agenda a Black agenda, not a Black agenda
Go.
might look like, right? A Black agenda might look like. So let me. We got quite a few comments in in here, so I want to acknowledge some folks, right? Let's see. So Mama Yada has joined us. Thank you for being here, Mama Yada, and congratulations on being named one of the 25 women you need to know. We got Janae White. Greetings, beautiful people. We love you. We appreciate you. Keisha Washington. Good evening. Thank you so much.
Hey, Keisha, alert member. What's up?
Yes. And my podcast cousin in Dallas is on Sambaza. Thank you for being here. We got Tyrone Smith from Miami, Florida. Thank you for being here, Tyrone. All right, Kufu said this is not the city of Tallahassee. This is the city of FSU. Ooh, shots fired again, Kufu. You is not playing with us tonight at all. All right. Let's see. We got a question. Oh, and Warren gave you a shout out. What's up, Dr. Bruce? Love hearing from you last time. Give us some more nuggety.
Appreciate it, brother. That's what I'm here for.
Let's see. All right. Warren had another question. He said, what would you say to our local leaders in politics, OEV chambers, etc., about the fresh off the press decision that was just signed by the governor pertaining to DEI?
Okay. DEI, right? Thank you for this question. Okay, so what we see here, right? And I'm glad that people are talking about this and people are paying attention. When this first happened, everybody kept saying, DEI is only for white women. And I was like, where y'all getting this information from? I don't think that's the case. Like, DEI is a process by which we look to diversify workplaces, diversify government agencies and how they work, and then make sure people are included. And then we're working towards equity. It's a principle, it's a process. And they have DEI offices, or they had DEI offices. Now what we've seen starting in Florida, and then we saw the Trump administration take it further, and now Florida has just took the football further, is they are putting everything that is for people of color, everything that Black people have done to advance civil rights and human rights and protections for themselves. They have put all that under the auspice of DEI, and now they're trying to get rid of all of it. So it's affecting everything across the board, from Juneteenth to environmental justice protections to where we can even have open discussions about concepts like reparations, reparative justice, repairing harm, because everyone's saying, nope, that's DEI. That helps a particular group get preferential treatment, while ignoring why do people need to be need special treatment. And it's because of historic practices that put people in adverse conditions that we're trying to eliminate. So ultimately, what these DEI policies are doing are eliminating the legal mechanisms by which we could fight against the impacts of racism. And that's where we are right now. And it is something that we should be organizing around and pushing back at every level of government. And we need all hands on deck, every church organization, every civic agency. The students should be marching. This is it, y'all. This is a big deal. And if we let this go unchallenged, I don't like where we're going to be in 4 years, 8 years, 16 years, and what's going to happen to our grandchildren and their children if we allow them to just say everything is DEI, everything is woke craziness, and throw all those civil rights protections away.
Yeah, I would say, I know the question was, what would you say? And there was another question about how we engage youth. I don't want to forget about that. But
yes,
to this, I would say that, because this is specifically like, what would you say to our local leaders in politics, OEV, the chambers, etc.? Like, you can't be afraid. You're in a position of power. You're, even for the ones who are not elected, for the leaders of chamber, etc., people in paid positions, volunteer positions, appointed positions, you represent your community. There was a time when owning another human being was legal, and people had the courage to stand up and fight against that. So to say, well, the governor did this, and the governor and his people break the law all the time. The only difference is they have the audacity, and they know that they can use the law to protect them. They can use the courts to protect them. So we have two choices. We can either say, oh, well, because this is now deemed illegal, and I use that term very loosely at this point, because this is now deemed illegal, there's nothing we can do about it. No, if you're in these positions, if you're sitting on a board, if you're sitting, if you're in a nonprofit and you're in these meetings, and the point of these meetings is to help better the community, is to help the most vulnerable people, the most poverty impacted people, the people who really don't have. Like now is, if anything, now is the time for you to actually stand 10 toes down in your position and in your role. It's not the time for you to be afraid. And if you feel like this is too much, I don't want to put myself on the spot, then I feel like it's fair to say that you need to step back. Like for some elected officials, they say that God wants them in their role. I know God don't want you in your role to do the least.
Exactly. Let me add one more part to that before you jump in, Serenity. I'm sorry. Another thing is we have a lot of politicians who are posturing right now. I'm like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this to DEI. But when you check and see who their donors are, when you check and see who they politic with and who supports them, and you check and see who they supported in previous elections, and I'm gonna call one by name, that is Brother Corey Simon, right? Then we have to look at how did people vote on these issues and how have they gotten us into this situation. So I think we need to hold that when we go back to rating candidates and rating our elected officials, how have they held the line for us on this? And remember, this isn't personal when we talk in politics. Sometimes it's business, it's politics as usual. And we need to start getting people out of office who won't hold the line and who are not willing to take action for us. And they can't just wait to after the grass is cut to then come out and be like, oh man, they cut our grass. It's like we saw the lawnmowers lining up, right? So I think people need, again, I agree with Mel, people need to be more courageous. We need to hold elected officials accountable, and especially our brothers and sisters who chose to not hold the line and change sides and support a lot of these measures that got us in this situation.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say, there's literally a small book. Really, you don't even have to get the book. You could just look up the Timmons. But it's called On Tyranny. It's 20 lessons from the 20th century by Timothy Snyder, talking about how to fight back against a tyrannical system, which I feel like we are in right now. And the number one rule is do not obey in advance. There's no reason for you to be obeying these rules or these laws when you know that they are not right. Again, we do need courageous people in office who want to fight back. Someone might say, oh, well, they're going to get removed from office. Well, they did the same thing to the Tennessee 3 and then they got reelected. Like, if you for the people, you'll get reelected. But you need to fight back. This is not a time to play around. This is not a time to play footsie with them or whatever. These people are coming to take all of our things. And are you going to let them? And if you are, you do not need to be an elected official.
All righty. Well, I guess y'all heard that. So listen, the chat is on fire. All right. People talk about civil disobedience, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. It's going to require us to take care of us. JD Floyd, another great episode. Thank you, JD Floyd. DC Pickett, it affects veterans as well.
Yes. Hey, Darshell.
Yes. It's not time for silence or compliance. We must learn our history so that we can build up the work of our ancestors. All right. So I want to circle back to Miss Audrey said grants being eliminated as well.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the youth question because that was asked before the break, which was, and I saw your question too, Enigma. I'm going to get back to it. So Kay said some of our first-time voters are not knowledgeable regarding voting. How are we engaging the youth? Any events to engage them into this work and to care about voting?
I want to say one thing.
Yes.
The youth follow our example. So if you're not out there showing them how to be a voter, how to be a knowledgeable voter, the youth aren't going to do anything. If you're going out there constantly voting for people that are against our very being of life, and then they do bad things, and then people get the feeling of, or the youth get the feeling of like, well, why am I voting anyway? Because it doesn't matter. Because these people are going to go in and do all of this crazy stuff, like give FSU a bunch of money for a stadium and sell a golf course and sell our hospital. Why should I even participate? Because we I say we as the adults in the room, keep going out and voting for these people, and keep winning. So we have to be an example. Um, Also, I think Tallahassee Alert, we held a great event last summer, our Power Lab, that went deep into organizing, deep into policy issues. It was a great event. I hope we can show some pictures one day, or repost the pictures from there. But in that event, it was focused on educating again people on our policy, our platform, but also doing sort of a power mapping of like, well, who is in charge of what for this issue, and how do you feel about this, like this politician or this individual or this institution or this organization, right? And where do they fall? Are they allies? Are they people who always work with us? Or some people hate when I say it, but I mean, literally the other word is opposition. So are they the opposition or are they allies? And if they're opposition, well, we need to discuss what sort of tactics do we need to take to either push them? Are they movable, or are these people that we need to suppress, right? And so I think the youth that was in there definitely loved the event. We got great feedback from them, and we'll love to do that again this summer. But yeah, I think the main way to engage youth is to, one, lead by example, and also hold events that talk directly to their issues. Again, like we held our Power Lab, but until we show the example, the kids are not going to follow.
Yeah. And then just to add on to that, I think it's, first, I do want to give a shout out here in Leon County. We have some bold and amazing teachers that are making sure this information is going into the classrooms. So I've been on some of the campuses lately and been able to hear the students. I got to go to a reading that one of our alert members, Jada Brown, hosted at. She was hosting at one of the local elementary schools, and I was in there reading to the kids about Frederick Douglass. And these are the kind of things that when they start taking away DEI and they're coming down on us, they're trying to stop that type of activity. So everything we want to do, we can't even say on the show right now, y'all, because it's that serious where we are right now. But ultimately, the point I want to make is that we have to make sure that the youth are informed, and we have to let the youth lead in their own spaces and trust their leadership as well. And that's always been a challenge going back throughout history. We get into those generational conflicts, but I am open and willing that when it comes to Tallahassee Alert, we want to have more youth involvement. We want to make sure they're learning from us and that we are allowing them to lead and that we're learning from them as well. So these are different things and they're nuanced and we have to work through them. But ultimately, you engage the youth by getting out there and engaging with the youth.
Indeed. Tyrone said it starts at home from all of the adult figures. He also says some politicians are puppets at certain times in their careers and are more after personal gain. True. Let me go back to
The only thing I'd say to Kay the advocate is join Alert. We need you, so you can help us definitely build out youth outreach and make it more robust.
We got a whole education committee.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Enigma wanted to know what's the difference between Black conservative, a Black moderate, and a Black progressive. I think we kind of tackled this last time, but it bears repeating. So let's go.
Oh, brother.
Lord.
All right, let me try it, y'all. Okay. Conservative. No, let's start with the progressives. We define Black progressives as people who are working to affirm the humanity of Black people, therefore all people, and move Black communities forward in a way that benefits our community and benefits everyone. Moderates are people who are kind of not willing to commit to a full approach, and they want to take more incremental steps. They don't want to try to move things as efficiently as you would say the progressives do. And we see that conservative element as the people who are unwilling. They either are being rewarded by the status quo or the current system, or they feel comfortable or scared, and they're not trying to move the community forward. Nor do they, at least in our perspective, are they willing to affirm the humanity of all the members of the community and all the people or affirm the planet. So they're ascribing to a lot of like archaic beliefs about what is humanity, who's a human, who gets civil rights, who gets freedom, who gets to who gets privileges and so forth. And ultimately, we see them as working to kind of uphold the current system, which does not serve us. So we are trying to move conservatives at least to the moderate place and move the moderates over to the progressive area where we're making progress as a community. I think
And
that's the best way to put it.
One way I could sum that up is I think Black conservatives believe in a traditional hierarchy of people. They believe that certain people must be on the bottom and certain people must be on the top. And I think Black progressives don't believe in a hierarchy and believe that we need to move beyond this system that categorizes and places people in certain classes because of how they look, because of their gender, because of where they live. We don't have to live in a system like that.
Very well said.
Okay. All right. So we have some other comments. Let's see. Audrey says some areas are restarting Saturday school programs and freedom school formats. Yes.
We support that.
We have that going on here in Tallahassee as well. Okay, let me grab my two youngest voters to the next forum. All right. She said, I'm down, Melanie. All right, we got Commissioner Nick Maddox, who has just joined us. Thank you for being here, Nick.
Shout out to Nick Maddox.
Yes. Keisha, there is no home to start. We've allowed them to take that as well.
Oh, that's hyperbolic, Keisha. I can't go with you there, sis. I feel what you're trying to say, but we still got homes that are worth defending. So let's rap about that, Keisha. Let's see, because I don't think we've lost our homes yet. And I don't want to send that message out there, but I know what you're trying to say, sis. So
let's see. We got Tyrone. As for the youth, we must educate them properly and show them by the way you live and handle certain situations in their presence. Absolutely. And E, I wanted to ask the difference between a Black white supremacist and a Black conservative, but I got scared. No, you weren't scared because you just put it.
You still asked
it. We see what you did. We see what you did. Go ahead. I ain't even go. Don't.
All right. You can move
it. We answered it.
Warren, if any of you saw Joe's road trip, can you give your take on the power of the message when allowing our youth to go to historical events, landmarks of our past?
I've been told about this and haven't had a chance to watch it. Have either any of y'all?
I did.
Okay, tell us about it.
Okay, just the message. I'm not going to talk about the actual filmmaking. But again, if you haven't seen it, essentially Joe takes his grandson to different historical landmarks around the country on his way to a college visit. The son starts off as this Black conservative, this person who says that race doesn't exist. We don't we need to move on. Like, he started off sort of like that. He started off a Corey Simon, a Byron Donalds, and he went to different historical landmarks. Oh, my bad. So anyways, I think I love the message. Again, for me, I think growing up in Tallahassee, and I think I really speak for a lot of people who grew up in like small towns or just kind of feel trapped in wherever like they grew up in, and they didn't get that opportunity to explore other places, to see what's possible, to see different ways of life. And so I know for me, when my first experience outside of Tallahassee on like a more of an educational trip, my school allowed us to go up to DC, right? And I was able to experience that. We went to the African American History Museum, that sort of thing. So I think it's very important that we try to take our youth outside of where they grow up in, because I think the sort of like outcome of when people feel trapped in where they're growing up in, they don't get experience to grow their mind. I think that leads to crime. I think that leads to poverty. I think that leads to just a stifling of imagination. And that's not what we need. So I think the overall message was great. We should be taking our kids, ourselves to historical landmarks wherever we can. I was able to go to the Alabama History Museum. and to go there. My job took us there, and it was fantastic, very, very moving. And just being in that space is just very powerful. So we should definitely invest in taking our kids to these places.
Yeah.
I think it'll really give them a just a maybe they might not be able to articulate it when you first bring them, but later they're gonna be thinking about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just went to we took a youth group. Speaking of Saturday schools, and Mama Yada's daughter was with us, for example. We just took a youth group to that Alabama museum, and it was powerful. And I think the kids, the perspective of just we talk about this stuff all the time with our youth group, and then for them to go and experience and get the reenactment of talking to people who were slaves, who were in pens, and kind of walking through that experience of the transatlantic slave trade, it was overwhelming. And we fortunately, I had my wife's school counselor with us. We had our youth staff also trained in anti-racist communication to kind of help the students receive that information and process it, and it worked out. But it is a lot, so we have to treat these situations with cares. And Yada's principles of problem solving that she's talking about there in the chat, that is another great tool that we utilize to kind of advance this concept that we could solve problems in our community. Another great event, and I don't see my sister Johanna here, but and is community healing days, and just like where we focus on making sure that we learn and understand the trauma that's been inflicted on our people, but we learn ways to work through it, so it's not just sitting with this hurting us.
Absolutely. Community healing days are paramount. And so definitely get involved. Normally that takes place in October here locally in Tallahassee. So definitely want to get involved with that. All right. Let's see. So again, we want to encourage folks who are have questions for the candidates and the candidates forums that are coming up to put your questions in the comments today, and even in the replay for those who may be checking this out afterwards, so that those can be passed along to the moderators for the upcoming candidate forums that'll be happening here in Tallahassee. All right. Somebody put join us at TallahasseeAlert.org. All right. And we'll get to that even more so in just a little bit. Let's see. Jaquetta, she said, how do you process the anger, helplessness, sadness, or other emotions after seeing that the world is changing, but it seems like Black matters are being ignored or suppressed? That is a very great question.
Yeah. So talking about my job again, we went to Puerto Rico for a staff retreat a couple months ago, and we had a lady come to teach us about regulating our nervous systems, because we definitely need it. We went through a lot of, I think, trauma from that last election in that first year of the Trump presidency. And even more now, again, like we're in another war, and there's just a lot going on in the world. And we are human. We are just, these balls of, organic material and stuff, and we need to understand how our body works, right? And it was just a great experience. And so I have the little book that she gave us behind me, and maybe I'll share the name of it because I don't remember off the top of my head. But essentially, we need to learn how to regulate our nervous system. What is it? What does it feel like? And how can you identify in yourself when you're getting angry? And then realize, okay, I need to take some breaths. Maybe I need to run around. Maybe I need to dance. Maybe, like, what are you feeling? Are you feeling like you want to fight? All right, well, we need to get that energy out in a positive way. Do you feel like you want to flight or run away? How can you get yourself more grounded again? If you're feeling like you're wanting to appease or be overly appeasing, a people pleaser, fawning, how can you love on yourself more and understand that you are good as a person by yourself, right? I want to make sure I get that before we get off, but going through the exercises of what to do when you're feeling those different emotions was definitely Something I, again, still talk to right now, right? And that was from months ago. So definitely make sure you identify when you're feeling that way. What exactly are you feeling? And then learning the different ways that you know that you can calm yourself back down, because we need you here, and we don't need you to crash out just yet.
Yes. Tiffany said, my answer is simple. You dance.
Actually, where my yoga dance people at?
Yes, I don't know. I don't see them on the line, but we know. Mama Yada, she said, I love community healing days. Tyrone, with the new age parenting, it's very hard to teach some of the youth because of peer pressure and social media. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, shout out to our teachers on the front lines doing the work and all the people who work with youth in the community. And I think what we're learning through our Saturday programs and just our experience with youth, which is not what the teachers are seeing the kids full time, but it's that you got to be creative with the engagement and fight for those young people's attention. And I know it's hard, but we appreciate those of you who are out there doing it.
Yeah. Mama Yada said that her daughter still talks about the trip. Shout out to Brilliance Resilience Saturday School.
Yes, thank you, Yada.
Yes, very good. Yeah, no, that was a great question about processing the anger, sadness, helplessness, because it's real. I think that also brings about voter apathy.
Absolutely.
And just a desire to not get involved, to not participate, because it's so much. It can just be so overwhelming. And so, I think that you all are having this type of conversation around a Black political agenda, what that could potentially look like, is very important.
Yeah. I'll say to that real quick, that question. I wrote a book about a year ago now by Any Dreams Necessary. And one of the things I talk about in the opening is that I was experiencing that apathy, that hopelessness, just that like everything was doom and gloom. And one way that I found my way through it was through the work and also through building and being in community. And something me and my wife take very seriously. We're always trying to build the community that we want our children to be raised in, not just waiting for it to magically appear. And then we invite everyone around us to be a part of that community. So wherever you see me, I'm gonna be with Black people trying to build community, and that is my own cathartic process of working through what is otherwise like this overwhelming despair that you feel when looking at the world. You just have to kind of carve out your chunk of it and make it nice for you.
Absolutely. All right. Kay said the youth just need us to tell the truth. We sugarcoat too much as a community. Ashe. All right. Let's see. Jay, she said, I'm here for it. Wonderful. Keisha, beautiful, humble wife. Yes, she is. She is beautiful and humble. All right. So we are at the end of this conversation. Warren said earlier that we will need a part 3. So I didn't even get to Tiffany. She said the board of governance and the schools that fall under them are anti-DEI. And we just gave a blank check to one of our most valued public assets to FSU. Shame. Let's see. 2026 local government DI ban on March 4, 2026. Simon was among the Florida senators who voted to prohibit local government, cities, and counties from funding, promoting, or taking official action related to DEI initiatives.
Yes, he was.
There's a lot to review and to unpack, right? Right. Yeah. Mr. Duval Rattler, I've noticed that some politicians in other communities seem to receive unwavering support for their constituents. Do you think politicians from the Black community who support the Black agenda have?
They should. And if it's not happening, that's something we need to change.
Same level of support. That's Dr. Willie Williams.
Oh, what's up, Doc?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So do you think politicians from the Black community who support the Black agenda have the same level of support?
That's an interesting question. I believe that you will find that within the Black community, we support we support politicians in general who support our agenda. But I think one of the challenges that we're trying to kind of address as Tallahassee Alert is it's been hard for us to come together and deliver a collective agenda to politicians. So people get elected and they just start kind of running any way they want to, because no one has kind of said this is what we need and what we want as a community. So we know, as my sister Tiffany Hill always says, we got innovative and creative people in this community, right? And we want to bring them together and generate ideas and then carry them out to our commissioners like Nick Maddox and say, hey, this is what the community wants. And then we put the onus on him to act on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. All right, and I'm gonna make Nick's the last question. Tyrone, I appreciate you. Nicole, my pleasure, brother. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Judy, this is good. Thank you, Dr. Judy. Kay, thank you all for everything you're doing and continue to do in the community. Nick said, I appreciate the work you all are doing for our community. He said, my question is, are we building a culture in Tallahassee that produces real freedom for Black people, or maintaining a cycle that keeps us visible, needed, and reactive? Ooh, my God, today. Oh,
I mean, that's what we're working towards, right?
Right.
Like that's what Tallahassee Alert, and I know you know, Commissioner Maddox, that's what we're working towards. I think that there are probably many who feel like we do need to maintain a cycle that keeps us visible and needed. Maybe they believe that they're not reactive, right? Maybe they believe that as long as we're visibly in these seats of power, we can be so-called at the table and like fight for the scraps that we're fighting for. So that's just it. It's just based on people's opinion at this point, because I think that some people on the other side of this truly believe that their way is the best way. There are people who feel like, go back and watch that final CCRC, that Citizens Charter Review Committee. Go back and watch that. Watch the debate. Look at that 9-9 vote. Look at the demographics of the people who voted no. Listen to their argument on why they voted no. And I think you'll find that there are still Black people who are working to do just that, maintain a cycle that keeps us reactive. But Alert is working to do what you said.
But wait a minute. Wait. Y'all got to check out the follow-up question. What are we willing to change to move towards true liberation?
I think a lot of issues, or let me not say it like that. A lot of the problem comes from, again, people getting into places of power. They are able to rub shoulders with certain people, and maybe that rubs their ego, right? And it makes them feel good to be there, makes them feel important, and then they forget that they're there not to necessarily be friends with these people. You're there to fight for us, right? And I think that's the culture that Tallahassee Alert is trying to push, is that we, the people, who deserve better. We deserve more, and we deserve better. And the only people that believe that is us, and that's why we need us to keep fighting. And what are we willing to change to move forward to true liberation? I'm willing to flip the whole city commission if I need to. I'm willing to flip the whole county commission if I need to. Sorry, Nick, but you cool for right now. But but I mean, I'm again, these are politicians, and yes, they can be your friends personally, but at the end of the day, they have control over how many hundreds of thousands of people live in Tallahassee. And it has to be more than just, I really love taking pictures and telling people that, I live on the South Side and I decided to live here, and I'm just saying, sometimes you need to have more people. You need to demand more of these people and not just want to be their friends.
Exactly.
Because these are not your friends. They're literally have control over you. They control your entire city. So they're not your friend.
So yeah, my answer to that and to Nick's question is, we're willing to do and work with anyone who's truly committed to making progress for our communities. And I said that last one, and I say that again. And we recognize everybody's not trying to work with us. Some people are going to choose to be ops, and that we expect that. But anyone who's really serious about let's make progress for Black people in this community and our communities, we are with y'all, and we open up to collaborations and whatever it takes. it's not going to be no one size fits all solution. It's going to be different actions at different times and adjustments and adaptability, and us working together and staying together through thick and thin. And that's what, our grandparents was teaching us. So let's keep doing it.
Indeed. All right. So we're getting lots of closing remarks. T Hill, excellent question. Mom Martha, great conversation. Tiffany, we need more people who are not afraid to go against the grain. E, that proximity to white supremacy is intoxicating. J,
I'm sober.
action, just words. A lot of questions can be answered if elected officials get out of those seats and spend time in the community speaking with the citizens. All right. So Rev Wana just joined us. So she has a question. I'm going to ask each of you to incorporate her question in your closing remark, okay? Which is, in each of your opinions, what does true liberation and freedom look like for our community? All right, so I'm gonna start with Mel, okay? Closing remarks, but if you could respond to this question about what true liberation and freedom looks like for our community.
We opened up this meeting talking about some of the recent wins from Tallahassee Alert, including one that we're truly excited about, which is our Restoring Communities Amendment that we're now calling our Zombie Amendment because we've revived it. I bring that up to say that in my day job, I'm a registered lobbyist. I lobby at the state level. There's not many lobbyists who look like me, young and Black, women, wearing their hair natural and dreadlocks. And the work that we're doing locally is very similar to the work that I do at the statewide level. And I love to tell people, and I think my mission is to demystify this process for Black people. There's not I think we're all special in our own way, but there's truly nothing that differentiates me, Dr. Strouble, and Serenity from you all. You all could be sitting right next to us as we push forward these progressive policies to help everybody, but especially the Black community. So I think that true liberation and freedom for me looks like that. It looks like us owning and walking in our own power and knowing that the ideas and the agenda we come up with isn't something that we took from a white, quote unquote, liberal or progressive. It's something that is innate within us. We built cities, we built kingdoms, and that is still within us. And we have the power to do that even in little old Tallahassee.
All right. Very good. All right, Serenity, you up.
True liberation looks like to me self-determination. We have the power to decide what we want to do with our lives, with our bodies, and with our community. True liberation looks like love, being able to show and express radical love for ourselves and our community and our environment. It looks like being able to, I think I'll start it like this. This is why I joined Tallahassee Alert, because I feel I am able to express myself in that true liberation fashion through the work that I do. And I think in Tallahassee, true liberation looks like Black people in unity together, loving each other, determining what we want for ourselves, and having the energy and the audacity to keep fighting those who want to take that away from us. And I hope that you all, hear these podcasts, go back and listen to the first part, listen to this part, and really listen to yourself and talk to yourself, go into some self-reflection and say, what am I willing to do for my own self-liberation? How can I move the needle forward so we don't always have to keep talking about this every, 50 years, 100 years. We're at the 250 year mark of this country. What are you doing to push the needle forward for the next 250 years? Because unless you do it, nobody's going to do it. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, Bruce, close us out. Please remind them of the candidates forum. I'll bring that up again and tell folks how they can connect with Tallahassee Alert.
Man, thank you for having us on again, Nicole, and to the community members who are here and all the alert members. Just thank you all for everything that we're all doing, everything that you all are doing. Special shout out to these two sisters who are with me, Mel Andrade and Serenity Williams. I want everybody to understand that when we invest and when we support and uplift Black women, that is the start of how we get liberation in our communities. Man, it's so powerful. As a strategic move and just what it does for us as a people. So Malcolm used to always say that, and I think just in seeing the work that the sisters around me do, it helps me further realize the point Malcolm was trying to get to us about the importance of Black women being uplifted and protected in our communities. And from there, I want to say at Tallahassee Alert, and you heard my sister Serenity say it, we are talking about self-determination, where we come together collectively as a people and say what we're going to do for Black people, what we're going to do for Black communities. And it's up to us. We have to make these decisions. We can't rely on people outside of us to tell us what to do. That has not worked for us, and it's not going to work for us going forward. So I see all the questions. How can you support? Join the organization. We said last time we want to work with anybody and everybody committed to progress. Hey, that's Mama Seta. You keep feeding the community. Let us support you. But I'm sorry, I saw Seta there. Another one of my heroes. So, yeah, let's just all keep finding ways to work. We don't have all the answers. We have done a lot of research and we have some of the stuff together. But come out to the candidate forum on Monday, March 23rd, 6 p.m. at Watson Temple. It'll also be broadcast and live streamed on our social media. But come and listen to the candidates and let's come together and make collective decisions about who's going to be best to advance the issues that are impacting the Black community. Who's going to be best for that? That's how we should be thinking about elections. No more, I like this person, let's vote for him, or I have a personal relationship with this person, I'm voting for him. What's in the community interest? That's where we could start as we get our self-determination and work towards our liberation as a people. And I'll leave it at that.
Right. So you see the website scrolling across the screen, the IG. So get involved. Come out to the candidates forums. I will be posting it on my page, but you can go to Tallahassee Alert on Facebook, on IG, to keep up to date with what Tallahassee Alert has going on. When are we going to run part 3 back? Listen, these are some busy people. You hear me? So we're gonna have to see.
We'll come back. We'll come back. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll have to see if we can make it happen. I might have a date or two in April left. So let's see what we can do. But I want to thank each of you for your time, for your knowledge, your expertise, for your passion, and for picking up this mantle of a Black political agenda. I hope the viewers have found this to be beneficial. I'm taking from the comments and the hand claps and the things that the response we're getting that it was great for you. So let's keep this conversation going. Share this with somebody that you think will benefit from what was said here tonight, and encourage them to come out to the candidates forum or at least tune into it. Okay. Again, get involved. Don't be complicit. Don't be disaffected. Don't be disengaged, because policies are being made and implemented, and they are all going to affect us and the generations to come. So,
Ashe.
yes. All right. Set a great segment, always good content. Thank you so much. Oh, and of course, I always forget this, y'all gotta help me out because I forget this. For those of you who are new to the platform, please subscribe to Conversations with Nicole. Subscribing is supporting, and we need all the support we can get. So we are here Mondays and Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Focus on mental health and wellness primarily, but we talking. Listen, this affects all aspects of wellness, right? Environmental, financial, social, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of the O's, right? So, yeah, just subscribe and tune in. Couple things I have coming up that I gotta mention quickly. Poom Poom Party, the first one for 2026, April 26th, is taking place. You can get more information on my socials. Also, Sheila Morris and I are doing our first generational wealth conversation April 14th at 1200 Church. Is free to the community. We will be talking estate planning, probate, wills, trusts, heirs property, all that. So 6 o'clock, 1200 Church, no registration. We'll have some refreshments, but we'll have someone from the clerk's office, an attorney, and someone from our funeral services to talk end of life planning. So we do this in April and in August. So the entire community is invited to come out and be part of that conversation. All right. All right, y'all. Have a great one, and we will see y'all next time. And we'll try to get a part 3 soon. Peace.